Dang it, adding to the pile of skulls. Unfortunate.
It's truth. But are you enjoying the
Uh,
games?
yeah, no, it's just there's a little extra veneer of competitiveness because I don't.
Honestly, I want people to beat this Guile because I'm starting to get seriously worried. Like, as you know, my win rate is not this high because my playstyle relies on establishing mix-ups, and it seems like the pressure he puts people under, just it's too much.
I think you have a legitimate concern, but not in the way you think.
Hmm,
I think there's matchups he absolutely dominates. Like there are a few 9-1 matchups he creates. Like
gotcha.
just people who cannot deal with that level of pressure. Especially if they don't. It's not like you can stop his gauge generation.
Not really.
Like
You can slow him down, but that's the best you can do.
so, he's never not going to flip. He's ever not going to be able to reload his gauge. And there are some people who just can't deal with big hand lad. Um, Anyone who's a particularly bad wild swinger, for example. Like I didn't see the Miska game, but that didn't seem like it was going to be a good time for anybody.
Um, it might surprise you, but it might not.
Um,
Some interesting things happen that game. I don't know if you want spoilers or not.
Go ahead.
0-3 in Miska's favor.
Really?
Yep.
Just wild cider for the win, or
Actually, no. Wildsider didn't get played. What was the killing blow? So essentially, she was. So firstly, this was a Miska main who knew how to play Miska, like very solid Miskaing and very solid burying, which is the more important part of Miska, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, Several times, um, she, she played the range one spike where she knew that I would land in range from bear. She played the grasp from bear at the appropriate times and traded very consistently. And then she boosted 2+3 speeds in a row. And the resources that I burned to get rid of those were so hefty because I had to throw 2 speed in play and then preemptive strike to get a net advantage. And I think it came down to like, did she call correctly whether I was playing a mid speed or double sweep kick? Um, the fast gain advantage thing,
Mhm.
which she called correctly, so I lost on attrition. Like,
Wow.
because actually she has like decent defenses and she has ignore guard on a mid speed. Like, amusingly, it was kind of a battle of the mid speeds, even though
Mhm.
she's a hardcore zoner and Guile is really not. Um, but it was a really interesting game to me because I wasn't expecting her to
Like
do that well because I can, because roll exists. Where is it?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
roll makes Miska extremely sad. But it turns out that like she can brawl very consistently, and the threat of stun immunity is very real. So it was an interesting game.
Wow. Wow. Uh, something I will not a player and a character I will not underestimate.
Oh, it's also worth
Um.
noting Silver Fang beats literally everything I do other than double sweep kick, and so does Bear Rush.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that's wow. A 3 space grasp. That's
yeah,
pretty good.
3 space grasp, and then Bear Rush actually insta-gibs Guile.
Oh no.
So I had to parry Bear Rush. I did not allow that to happen.
Oh no.
um,
That is a card.
yes.
Well, I
Uh,
take back what I said about the matchup because that is a particular anti-tech tool.
yeah,
But
like those two cards are hilarious.
um, I will say as a contrast point, um, hmm, let me think about it. Let me right click on the old reference chart and think of people who would hate this matchup like to their core. Um,
I would expect Zangief to, but in practice, we have learned that Zangief actually exerts far more pressure than Guile can.
I
So,
mean Zangief exists, like that's the thing.
yeah, he's Zangief.
Like Zangief, strongman, trade all day, hug opponent.
Yep.
Um,
Zangief wrestle with Bear.
hmm Like, all right. I mean, and that's he's somewhat below curve, but like I playing Shovel Knight into this, I think I would get crushed.
I mean,
Um,
I don't know. Like, to me, I look at things like flare wands and mobile gear, and I'm like, Guile doesn't really catch those. Like, well, no, it becomes super mix-up oriented, but I think that Shovel Knight can deal with the pressure.
Right. I just don't think he has like the number of times you have to guess right as Shovel Knight compared to the number of times you have to guess right as Guile.
Fair.
Um, like even if I'm doing major card like I think that's the thing is like once you're in big hand mode,
Hmm.
you also just sealed off Truple and both Ultra Boosts
Yeah, yeah, because you're
because
never
I'm
getting
never
a
going
turn.
to see 2 turns.
Yeah, you're never gonna get 2 turns in a row. That's true.
Which is not trivial by any stretch of the imagination.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I look forward to seeing it. I think the Mountain of Skulls is not as worrying as it should be just because of the numbers, because there is Guile matchup experience necessary.
Yeah,
Knowing where he wants to stand and dealing with that is a big deal.
yeah. And there's a huge difference between this character is overpowered and this character is a Pub Stomper. Um, which wait, hold on, no, Pub Stomper connotes he stomps newbies. That's not what I mean. Um, I don't know that there's a word for it, but you know, he himself is new on the scene. Like,
Right.
people haven't learned.
And like you said, this was not a intended play loop, so it's like what I would compare it as like people who is someone who can be a pub stomper Galdred.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've fought Galdred more than twice, you learn to hold certain cards back for when the flip happens.
Mm-hmm.
You're like if I don't have the rest of my game plan together, I should at least have some focuses so I can trade.
Mm-hmm.
And breathe.
Yep.
So against this Guile, knowing to isolate his key cards, and the thing is, it's like without the tech, he's a solid character. We never thought he was bad in testing.
Yeah.
With the tech, it gives him a way better endgame than freaking Flash Explosion.
Flash Explosion is hilarious, but it's not good.
Right. I mean, honestly, Flash Explosion is like, alright.
I mean, I windmill slam this because it's hilarious, but that's if I have 4 gauge, which I, as a rule, don't. And also, I know it's bad. Like, it's not a good attack. But it's hilarious. So.
Man. Yeah, I don't know. I look forward to seeing it, and maybe once we've, run the world, we can do a, like, first to 5 of folks versus Guile.
Mm-hmm.
Once we've all been around the block with him once, and just see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm down for it. Like, I want people to learn how to topple this monster. Let's see, how many matchups have I not seen yet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Okay, so 31 not yet seen in terms of matchups, so 21 seen. So we're not even halfway through, but we're getting close.
You know what matchup actually sounds terrible? Have you fought Imogen yet?
No, which is funny because like Imogen's one of the ones that apparently everybody mains. So like I'm expecting several people to once play Imogen, and I'm looking forward to it. Although thinking on it as an Imogen player, that is terrifying.
Like, this sucks. Like, this whole spread sucks. I
Yeah.
mean, Guilty Peon at least beats Flash Kick, which is nice.
Yeah, it does. You're right.
But like, Blood for Blood can get crushed by 3 things.
Yeah, I mean he's made of spikes, except differently shaped spikes.
I mean, he can keep up. Like, yeah, it's he can keep up with her. I guess she plays for Mill.
Mm,
I don't think she
can't
really can do that either.
can't do it because she doesn't have enough evasiveness to actually not let him pay out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
Yeah,
think she
preemptive eats
actually,
her alive.
yeah, preemptive eats her alive. I think she runs Evil Within and swings big damage, and actually saves Gage for Touch Divinity, like to actually play Touch Divinity. Because I think Touch
Yeah, I
Divinity
think
does eat
that's
Guile alive.
that is probably her saving grace, but preemptive reverse spin kick absolutely makes her the saddest.
It's very sad, but it does lose to Touch Divinity.
Yeah.
For what it's worth. um,
Is the force you to wild swing boost on Touch of Divinity also?
no, it's on Hand of Judgment. So
All right. Well, I mean, I guess that's the thing you do is you try to own range 2 more than Guile.
yeah, which actually that does work to her favor. His favorite range by miles is range 2, and her favorite range is range 2. Um, and I think that in a vacuum, she is better at range 2 than he is. I think that Overdraw Guile has advantages that make that, distinctly not a given. Because
I
EX
mean,
attacks turn things on their head.
crit spinning back knuckle is also
It's rough, but it loses to Purifying Chime, Hand of Judgment, Cross. It loses to Sweet 6.
right.
So, like, and most things he has lose to Speed 6. The thing that doesn't is Double Sweep Kick. And EX Assault, Like, I feel like I feel like EX Assault belongs to Guile at this point. He's used it enough. And Double Sweep Kick is trash against everything Imogene throws. So, like, it feels like it comes down to a Double Sweep Kick mix-up as opposed to a Spike mix-up that everyone else has, because for him, everything is Spike. It's a Double Sweep Kick mix-up. Oh man, this game was so close.
Gosh,
That
I
Death
forgot.
Knell.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, the Death Knell flash kick turn because I had answers.
Yeah, but that was the one read that lost you the game, essentially.
Yeah.
Or at least it didn't win you the game, because if you called it correctly,
If I called it directly, it was the win. But you played it safe.
Safe.
Because no, when you were flashing these two, I was like, this is the perfect turn to represent one of these as a surprise.
I mean, you're right, and that's what I expected you to think. So, so I played the correct thing. I did not expect you to throw Nell, but it makes perfect sense because, well, when your opponent has Ignore Guard is when you play Stun Immune Nell and you blow them up.
Right. Which I think is why I shouldn't. Well, you didn't know I had the Nell. That's, I think, the flip of it.
I mean,
that was the reason why I thought.
True. I mean, you're not wrong, but you could have had the Nell.
I could have, but I was like 8 cards into 20 at that point.
Right. But you reshuffled, which means, as far as I'm concerned, you have all of your cards. I played far too many games to assume you don't have things. Like, there was a moment in the stream that I should look back and clip, where it was like, you played something, you played Carmine with +2 power. No, you played EX Black Death, and I'm like, yeah, this is where I top deck focus, and I don't even get to trade, and I top deck focus, and neither of us registered the hint of surprise because we played too many games of this. Like, this is what happens. We expected. Like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
correct.
My friend Jay and I have a rule, which is, when you see your opponent's normals, and they reshuffle without losing those normals, and you're reading, they have the EX. So don't play a thing. Like, you see their hand, it has one normal, they reshuffle, now they have the other copy. So don't reading for a thing that loses to EX. Like, that's the rule.
I've learned something today.
What is that?
Well, exactly what you just said.
Oh, yes. It's happened. Many of our games have been determined by that moment where it's like, okay, reading Grasp. Oh, you have EX Grasp. Okay. Alright.
I was really hoping to find the other Charnel and take advantage of that 5 armor.
Man, if you had the other Charnel, I would have blown up, because I don't think I was not ready to handle that. Man, this is my newest favorite piece of jank. That is spelled D''J-A-N-K for the listeners. it's been a while since I've noticed this, and I did not remember this at all. I'm really pleased. Although
Hey,
word is that ruling might get reversed, but
which I'm fine
not.
with.
Yeah,
I mean, Jeanette's probably one of the bigger beneficiaries of it, to be honest.
I think she is the biggest beneficiary with this.
Um, or
With
just
Charnel.
exceeding faster and also being a thing.
But it doesn't help her exceed faster because this is not a transformation.
Oh,
That has been
good
established.
point.
However, it is a card in her transformation area, which cracks me up.
So we saw use of blood ritual. We saw.
Yeah, you use blood ritual. Are you feeling okay? Like,
it seemed like the appropriate decision at the time. Is all I can say.
it was effective, but it was also so funny. It's like your opponent taunts and you get hit by part of the animation, and you're like, "Wow, that happened! Like, that really happened!" Oh man, blood ritual is the best taunt.
I mean, it's no time for tea, but it will have to do.
Yep. Oh man, what a
Well,
blast!
great playing with you again.
Yeah, great playing with my friend.
Gonna head out, and
Thank
good
you so
luck
much.
with the continued battles.
Yep, thanks. I'll keep tearing the world apart one character at a time.